there are 26 lawmakers and congressmen who have decided to take on what they're calling the food stamp challenge, and they are attempting to live off of and eat off of what most impoverished people in our country who have to live off food stamps have to budget as insofar as food. This means that the 26 lawmakers who are taking on this challenge will spend 1 week living off of $4.50 a day for both food and drink. And just as a protest to the cuts that Republicans have imposed on the SNAP benefit system that's in this country, which is SNAP is what is commonly referred to as food stamps.
Yeah, it stands for the, let me butt in here, it stands for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program.
Right,
and
yes.
Do you have the numbers on the cuts as well?
Yes, I have. Well, the exact numbers on the cuts that the Republicans are proposing is strung out over a number of years. So over about the next decade, they want to cut...
The House was looking at legislation to cut food stamps. They're looking to cut $21 billion from the program over the next decade.
That's right, $21 billion they're trying to cut from the food stamp program, and they're going to, those cuts include cutting off approximately 2 million Americans off of the system completely. Those are 2 million Americans that live on the fringe of poverty. That means that if you take into account their expenses, then what they have left over is below the poverty level. But what Republicans are proposing is taking out the clause that would allow for people to receive benefits even if they're slightly over the poverty level because of their expenses. This would cut off those Americans. So that would cut off about 2 million Americans, and that would add to what is now 50 million Americans who are food insecure in this country right now. And that means that there are 50 million Americans right now under the program as it is that do not know, cannot be sure where their next meal is coming from. So Republicans want to add to that number of 2 million more Americans, most of which will end up being the elderly or children under the age of 18. So these 26 congresspeople and lawmakers who are taking on this challenge are doing it to protest the cuts that the Republicans are proposing. So they're living off $4.50 a day, which amounts to $135 a month. But they're not doing it for the whole month, they're doing it for the week. So I am curious to keep track of this story and then see what happens and how it affects possibly the cuts that will take place, and more importantly, how the public reacts. Because I think more than anything, this is a way to get the public's attention about what's happening. In one blog post, one of the lawmakers said, when I was a young single mother on public assistance, I would spend hours debating on what to buy and what to skip, all the while keeping her sons in mind, because you have to budget very carefully down to the dollar, down to the cents. And keep in mind that the $135 a month is just for one individual. And so these people don't even have to consider feeding an entire family this time. And another congressperson who took the challenge earlier in the year, I can't remember their name right now, but said basically they had to live off of coffee, and that the last few days of the challenge literally caused severe hunger pains, anxiety, headaches. So good going for these 26 Democratic lawmakers and congressmen who are taking on the food stamp challenge, and I hope to see more congresspeople and lawmakers take on this challenge and pick up the fight to help impoverished people and hungry families keep their food stamp benefits, because the cuts that the Republicans are proposing are absolutely going to be devastating to millions of families and millions of people, and they're going to crush these people and bring them down into the poverty level, basically so that they'll probably end up having to get on the program anyway. In the end, it's not going to save the taxpayers any money. This is only for the benefit of the very rich, and most of the money that is being saved by cutting the SNAP program is being funneled into the new agricultural bill, which is affectionately known as the Monsanto Protection Act.